lady, Jen Reck, she changed clothes midway.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, go back and look at it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's real funny.
She had a different shirt on from one part to the second.
All right, Debbie.
Can you hear me now?
All right.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Terry and Beth were cloned because they both sang two different parts. So Terry just, did the two faces. But I'll have to go back and watch Kathy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Change the shirts midway.
The first time she tried recording, she had trouble sending the full file. So she may have done it in two parts.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I'll have to check that out.
All right. Let's so this is an experiment this year, especially since we're doing it virtually, but in the past we've had a gathering of everybody socially at the beginning of the year to I don't know, some people who are phasing out and other people phasing in, but we're probably not going to do that this year. So I just thought before we get too busy with everything coming into November and Thanksgiving and December that we could just kind of touch base with everything. I don't know, just overarching hit on as much as we can, just briefly. We don't have to go into much detail or a lot of conversation about things, but just to give you, my idea was just to give everybody a sense of where we're headed for 2021, sort of what's on the horizon. And so we can be thinking about it between now and our next meeting. Does that sound cool? All right. I'm just going to go chronologically because that's probably the easiest way for me to remember things that are going on. So I will try to make sure I send out an email about this so that you all actually have it for your calendars, but just for you tonight, we scheduled our next meeting on Wednesday, December 2nd. And we tentatively have 6:15 in there, but Shannon, if you're busy eating dinner or something and you want to make it another time, we can totally start doing it.
Why did we stop meeting on Tuesdays?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember why that was that we started. We could go back to Tuesday. Depends on the group and what everybody has going on, I think. If Tuesdays are a better day, we could do it on December 1st instead of the 2nd if you want.
If we
Tuesdays
could,
are always
because
better for me.
Yeah, I teach karate on Wednesdays, and so it's better. I have to miss class tonight, so.
And all my union meetings are on Wednesdays, so.
Oh, so Wednesday actually is not a great day. Okay. I don't know how we defaulted to this then, but it is what it is, I guess. Well, let's try that then. Let's try Tuesday, December 1st at 6:15 then. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Good with me.
Yep. All right. I'll move that over. So the last leadership and/or trust, it was actually the trustee meeting I think we had. We were discussing the budget for the coming year, and we were trying to figure out a way to work in a plan for the garden to be developed, take its next steps in development as the building is being done. And our conversation then was that we kind of need to go back and revisit the whole plan for the garden and really come up with a solid written out ministry plan for that. And we have somebody interested in serving as a, right now we're just calling her assistant manager.
There you go. All right, we know that one's alive.
Hi.
J-Bon's here.
All right, hey, bud.
Can I join you?
You can for a second.
I want to join you. I want to stay.
You gotta be quiet.
Okay.
All right. Anyhow, so we have a lady that Jennifer had met when she was doing some garden. There was garden meetings that the Akron Public Library was hosting, and her name is Christy, and she's from Greene. She went to Kent State and went to school and wants to work in this sort of field. And a few weeks ago, Jennifer, she and I went out to the property and just kind of looked at potential places that the garden could be. We think we have a pretty good. Oh, hey, see?
Hello.
Bombing. Hi, everybody.
We thought you were dead.
No, I'm still alive.
Okay.
I can't believe though we were talking and a client was telling me like, can you believe March is in just like 3 months and it feels like just crazy. I feel like I've just lost a whole year.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Look
All right.
this.
Oh, all right. Good job.
Woo.
Excellent.
Can I stay?
All right, now you got to go with mom.
No, I won't stay.
I think she's eating dinner. You got to go eat.
No,
dinner.
I already ate.
You can sit here and color if you want. If he's here coloring, that's fine. All right. Anyhow, so Jennifer, you can comment if I missed anything on that. But our idea was to Jennifer and she and I a little bit, but mostly them, have been working on developing this ministry plan, and we thought that on the 1st, now when we set that next meeting, that we could really dive into that in some more detail, and we can email out the plan for everybody to review ahead of time, if that sounds all right. Anything else you want to throw out on that, Jennifer?
Any questions? Not really.
Okay. Very good. Okay, then we'll be starting Advent. I'm going to attempt to encourage people to each week of Advent share something meaningful from their own homes, sort of one family or person each week. And then that is my hope, as long as I don't know what's going to happen with COVID between now and then, so we'll see. But my hope is that then we will can have an actual Christmas Eve service in the building on the property. Obviously, it will only be done as far as it is done, but we thought it would be very unique and something we could only do once to get everybody inside the building. If it's going to be cold, maybe we rent a couple of those portable burners or something. And Donna has been pricing out for us and ordered plaid blankets that will have the church's name on it. And we thought maybe we'd get some straw bales or something and set it out and kind of make it old-fashioned Christmassy kind of thing with maybe a Christmas tree. And one idea was that people could bring an ornament or two from their own homes and hang it on the tree and then take it back with them afterwards and light some candles and hum a couple songs or something along those lines. So that's our rough plan right now, but I'm really trying to keep an eye on COVID to see how that goes. I don't want to really push that if it's going to be unsafe or anything, but I can't believe we were at 6,500 cases yesterday.
I watched Mike DeWine's. Did anyone else watch Mike DeWine's speech today? He was chastising everybody for getting together. So maybe we need to keep an eye on him too.
Yeah. So I don't know. We've got a little bit of time here to watch those numbers and figure out if they're going to level out or keep going up. I don't know. We'll see. So that's the plan there. And then 2021, as 2021 rolls around, they should be working inside the building during the winter here and finishing all that. And they still think we'll have the building done. The project manager has not changed the target date from April. So he thinks April. I've been telling people April or thereafter to sort of, I don't know, give a range to people, but I'm thinking April would probably be the soonest, but other things may happen between now and then that cause it to take a little longer than he thinks. So COVID has made things very interesting. I was just thinking the other day that, our original plan was to really go full force on when the building is done, having, you know, grand opening and all that, we're going to have to, I don't know, have a plan and a backup plan, I think, with COVID and all that. So we may, I don't know what we need to do, but if COVID clears up between, you know, April or thereafter, and other churches and that kind of thing are going back to meeting in person, then we can default back to that. But if that is not the case, then we may have to meet ourselves without sort of a grand opening or anything for a while. I don't know. These are just my rough ideas that I'm thinking out loud here, but you know, and socially distance, but meet there in the building and still keep recording it and having an online presence at the same time. So if things don't change, yeah, well,
when is the projected grand opening? Did you say?
They think they'll have the building done in April. So whenever we have, we'll just have to get clearance and have occupancy after the building is completed.
What building is completed?
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you, we could always do an outside tent or something like that. I mean, I don't see this thing going away till 2023, and the vaccine is not even ready yet. So it's better to play it safe. I mean, if there's a way that we can, does the church have like double doors I can open up to the outside? And by April it'll be spring. You could do a tent and everything, and then have, you know, and then that way you won't have people inside. But I mean, I don't mean to be a killjoy, but I don't see this thing. I don't see this thing heavily controlled until 2023. So.
Well, the news about the vaccine was encouraging, but then I was listening to an interview on it, and did you all hear that it has to be administered via IV?
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, and it also has to be under 80 below. It has to be extreme temperature, like dry ice.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that plays out, I guess.
And then you got people who don't even want it, who probably won't take it because they're afraid of vaccines. So, but if the building is fully up, I would think that you could do like a tent service. You know.
Let me touch base on that for a second. A couple things popped into my mind to catch you up on. So originally, back in pre-COVID days, which feels like a long time ago, the leadership had discussed, I don't know if it was the architect or builder, but they had asked us what we wanted to do for windows in the building. At the time, we all thought we would just put in permanent windows that did not open so that we could control the climate control better.
Yeah.
But with COVID, we did switch that midstream. So the trustees a couple months ago, when they were putting in the order for windows, decided to just change that to like double hung windows, basically like you'd have in your house on all the windows that are at ground level. So, and then we have 2 sets of French doors that go out onto the patio outside, and the rest of the building is fairly open. So I think if we can open some windows and open those, I think that will help with.
You can also see if we can afford it, is see if we can attach a what is it? A UV. You can put a UV light system inside the air conditioning vent. I know we have that here because of Catherine and Grace. And what it does is it kills all the bacteria. It's a little expensive, but it might be something. That way you're meeting all the standards, and the UV light can kill everything as the filter goes through. It's just an idea, but I don't know if we have enough in the budget. But I would say probably just make a tent party. Yeah.
And on that same note, on the tent idea, when COVID first happened, I did have the idea that we could probably easily sort of add to our building. You know, when you go out on the patio, when we'll go out on the patio from the building, if you're looking towards the houses, then to the left will be sort of, I think, a nice size open flat area. And I think we could sort of connect or set up temporary tents every once in a while if we wanted to have more space and just kind of connect the patio to the rest of the building that way. I also thought long-term, short-term and long-term, that the option of that may be very good for anybody who might want to use the building for a wedding or reception. That if you want a sort of indoor-outdoor wedding, whenever it's safe to actually have larger groups of people together, a couple could add a tent that seats 100, 200 people even, or something like that, and add it off to that side and have other things going on inside the main space or hall. And that gives a lot of flexibility to our building to be able to use it or for us to rent it for weddings and receptions. So that could be really cool. And on that note, I think we were assigning some ministry teams around the building, and Jackie and was it Cheryl? I think Jackie.
Cheryl Blanchard. Yeah.
Okay. Agreed to kind of take on this task of putting together a plan for how we could market and or start renting our building for for these weddings and receptions. So I think we can go ahead and try to develop a plan. We just have to, again, it's just coming back to keeping an eye on COVID to see when it really makes sense for us to be doing that. But Cheryl's idea was to try to, as soon as we know when the building is going to be done, a little bit closer, to try to, maybe go to some of these wedding shows and that kind of thing, set up a table or a booth and with pictures of our building and that kind of thing, and see if we can't book some weddings that way, which is the other big overarching thing that I have a lot of anxiety about, which is that as we get this building done, we saw from the meeting last Sunday that we're going to be running a significant deficit in our budget, and we only have about $200,000 in the bank now. Before, we had a lot of money to give us cushion, but we won't when we get done with the building. The combination of utilities and making monthly payments on the $375,000 loan we're going to take out are going to add up to that $58,000 deficit number annually. So you can do that math. We could do that for maybe a year or so, but yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
I think I'd like to rescind my chairmanship of the.
Too late now.
Yeah, too late.
So you were talking about reception. So having the wedding reception. So are we planning to get a liquor license and stuff for the wedding receptions? Because you have to have that in church.
Yeah, we have not looked into that. I'm not against that. I think at the very, it may be more, a process, but in the meantime, I think we could start with giving couples the ability to have these like mobile bartending groups that come into weddings that I've seen. They carry whatever license they need and then just come to your venue. So we may be able to start out that way, and then if we want to explore it from there, we could certainly do that. But we definitely need to spend some more time looking into what the regulations are. I'm not sure if the city of, other cities around Akron have to have a police officer there if you have that sort of thing. So we would just have to look into what all those rules are.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not sure if it's different by county, but working with the Veterans Home, we had events and we got a one-time event fee liquor license it wasn't hard liquor, it was beer and wine.
Right.
And I know we could have paid for the higher level. You just need dedicated bartenders, and we did have to have an officer, but I don't know if that was the facility we were in or if that was because of the liquor.
Right.
So for weddings, we might be able to get like a one-time event fee and just roll that into their cost.
Yeah.
Is there do we have to have something for BYOB?
Yeah, I think so. I think a part of that, Jackie, what maybe you and I and Cheryl can work on with the trustees is a building use policy, which we've not had to have for a lot of years. But generally, I think churches just have sort of a document that guides that sort of thing, so that it's not every event you have to make a decision one way or the other. You just sort of say, like, you know, yes to this and no to that, blah blah blah, all of that. And here's, like, if you want to, people want to rent the building, here's the price donation we're gonna ask for, and that kind of thing. So a roundabout way of answering that is, I think we could develop that between now and when the building is open. Yeah, Shannon.
I was thinking about this the other day, because I mean, as a church, I think people are going to expect us to be, reasonably priced, maybe cheaper than what they're getting other places. But also my concern is, I mean, I'm all in favor of doing all this stuff, always have been, but I think, are we expecting that we're going to get any, like, nasty publicity because we're, like, trying to make money and, like, as far as, like, because there's not a ton of churches doing this yet, so are we going to get some negative feedback on this from the denomination or anybody else?
I don't think so. I haven't picked up on anything like that. I would think the only thing we want to be careful of is when I actually saw where the building was, we're incredibly close to those houses back there.
Yeah.
For some reason, when I looked at the map, it seemed like there was more distance between us and those houses. So actually, I'm glad now that the city is requiring us to put up another row of trees or something back there. But yeah, I think we just want to be careful of that, to not be getting on the neighborhood's bad side. But other churches, it's probably just more not as evident, but a lot of Catholic churches use their halls, and Orthodox churches rent their halls out. So it is a thing that I think people expect to happen. We just may get a little bit more attention for a little while because our building is brand new.
Yeah, is there a plan to blanket that neighborhood behind the church and let them know that a new church is opening?
Yeah, I mean, that was our original plan pre-COVID, to try to do some door hangers and that kind of thing, and try to do some marketing. We do have, a while ago, a part of that money we have in the bank is earmarked for marketing around the building launch. So we've got, I don't know, there's probably $15,000 or $20,000 left in there that is earmarked for that. So we will be able to do that, I think. I just am not sure what our best bet is for timing on all that with COVID.
Well, this is going back to something that started off this part of the conversation, and that is, even when we're able to go to the building safely, we will still carry an online service where people can check into online. I think that would be a good thing to announce to the congregation, because I had someone ask me yesterday when I was talking to them, they don't think they'll be back to in-person for quite some time, just because they're being super careful health-wise at Risky Academy. And they just
go ahead, sorry.
That's okay. They want reassurance that even when we go back in person, there'll still be an option for online services so that they can still participate. So it might, if one person asks me, maybe there's others who are thinking the same thing. It might be good to announce that when we're back in person, there'll be that option. So people like Dave Johnson, or, you're out of town, or you really have to be careful with your health, so you're not going to go back anytime soon, that they'll still be able to check in.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'd be a mistake for us to go back to just the way things were before and not incorporate that. So I think even though it would certainly be nice for us to be back in person, there is a lot to the online that I think people will use and utilize even when we're past COVID. So yeah, I agree, and I think in a new building, I need to go back to our AV guy, but when COVID first started, I was sending some emails back and forth with him about live streaming. So I think the direction I would lean would be to, if we're back in person in the building, to do a live stream of our in-person with some sort of way for people to interact with us or to log in so we know that they're there and watching. I think all that technology has really come a long way since COVID. So.
Yeah.
Can I get some more water? Okay.
Yeah, I
think
think
there's going to be a lot of. I think there's going to be a lot of PTSD sort of like things that are going to happen afterwards. People are going to be very, very nervous for the next few years about going out in public because we've enforced that standard on people to, like this evening's the governor's message was pretty much just slapped everybody's wrist and said, you guys aren't following the procedure, I'm locking the state down. And rumor is they're going to take out school in January. So if people don't start adhering to it, so I think people are going to have a lot of mental, issues about being back in crowds again. So if we can offer that, I think that eases them in. And then the next stage is maybe not having a complete full service, but maybe a half service for a while until people are used to being in a crowd, because we're going to hammer this thing about being around each other for a long time, and then it's going to become a norm, and then suddenly out of the blue we're going to strip that away. People are not going to react that way. So
there's part of me that thinks that maybe God's trying to teach us something here, that maybe he wasn't happy with the status quo, how we were always doing things, and that maybe we needed to hit the reset button and wait for God thing stuff. As a misanthrope, I think this is wonderful. I don't care to be around too many people.
Yeah, that's right. Some people have that personality beforehand anyhow, so yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see. Once again, I'm a trendsetter.
There you go.
Well, hey, Joel. Yeah. My point is, though, to announce that to the congregation so they know that we're still planning to do this. I guess that's my hope, is that we let them know, not just talk about it in leadership, but let the congregation know as well. So they know they can count on that as return.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Some churches are having services, that you say 6 feet apart every other pew. I've been back to work since April, so. And St. Augustine's in Barberton, what they do is every other pew, 6 feet apart. Everybody wears a mask and just do one section at a time for communion, things like that. So it can be done. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to think smart. It just comes down to thinking smart and simple about this. And you may want to have like a middle service, like on Wednesday, have a service, and then just do it by alphabetical, and A through H or reserve on Wednesdays, and then have everyone come. Then the next half come on Sunday, and then maybe once a month, if it's during the summer, have everybody come out in the tent. It's just the way it's going to be for a while.
Yeah, Walt, you and I, after COVID first started, we were messaging back and forth about how we thought this was going to affect the church in the long run. And one thing I keep coming back to is that I do wonder if, because we've been at this now for so long and people are, I agree with you, I think people will be, even when we're past COVID, will be a little bit timid for a long time about being in bigger groups of people. One thing I wondered early on is if this may be an opportunity for the church to look at our gatherings or Sunday gatherings, that kind of thing, and potentially transitioning to a model that would be, a more smaller group gatherings instead of just one Sunday morning gathering. And, we started a number of our folks in leadership attended. Sue Kibbe recommended we attend that Fresh Expression seminar.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that they were really pushing was for churches to really think outside the box like that and to find some sort of alternative forms of gathering and worship that aren't typical, but that would keep people connected with each other, but maybe just in more of a smaller group of people instead of continually pushing a sort of, here's when we meet on Sunday mornings and a blanket invite to everybody to sort of show up. It becomes more of a based on people's relationships and a sort of alternative gathering. So I don't know, that's we'd have to pursue that some more if we wanted to pursue that, but it definitely is something to think about.
Yeah, there's a lot of new dynamics that are out there right now. And I can't think of the name right now, but there is a church denomination. A couple of my friends are there now that I was in seminary with, and they basically their church meets at homes, and then once a month they come together. And I can't remember the name of the church. It's a really popular church in Columbus. You can see the building on 270 North. You can see it. It's a pretty clear building, but
Is it Is it Vineyard?
No, it's not the Vineyard. It starts with an E. I can't think of it. It'll probably come to me later tonight, but they were some friends of mine. We were neighbors when we were living in Westerville, but they basically meet at a home once a week and they have church service and so forth, but then they come together once a month on Sunday. And the way the church was designed was built on the book of Acts, is how the church was originally brought together. Was they came together in groups, so that was the foundation. But yeah, there's many options that are out there that churches are trying to get through this. So, I'll have to look at the number. I mean, I'll have to see what the name is and send it over. I just know it starts with an E, so I can't remember what it is. So,
well, and I think even oh, go ahead, Debbie.
Well, this is off on a tangent, but that's the Pentecostal Church of Chile. They have all of these small gatherings throughout the week: Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. They're little neighborhood gatherings, and then on Sunday they all come together to the one big Pentecostal church in the city. But the week they're meeting as small neighborhood groups.
Yeah. And
yeah,
in this situation when we're dealing with a pandemic, it might work. So the question would be, would the congregation be willing to take that, be able to do that? I mean, some people are traditional. So.
Right. I was just going to say that I think some churches were experimenting with this sort of model even before COVID. I remember Jennifer and I went to go hear Brian McLaren speak, and I remember one thing he was with the churches do these ideas, and one in particular that stuck with me was he was suggesting that churches experiment with like hiking church, or like sort of that kind of thing, where like people just go meet at a trail and you all sort of huddle up at the beginning and read a scripture and pray, and then spend time hiking on a Sunday or whatever, and you sort of work in the elements of a service into that, but you're doing the activity at the same time. And then before COVID, one of the things that was popular that the church in the Falls was doing, and other churches, brew church or pub church, that kind of thing, where you just have a group of as many as 10, 12 people gather at an alternative location like that and have a topic to discuss. And so there's elements of church. I think we would probably want to be some sort of a hybrid where we weren't necessarily eliminating what we do currently, but if we offered other things alongside that, we may be able to have some folks who just participate in those, and that is their attendance at church, and other people who just still want to come on Sunday mornings and have a more formal church service. I think both certainly, or all those certainly, have value and are unique. So I don't know, it's something we could definitely look into.
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't. The name of the church is Xenos.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's called Xenos. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, we just have to figure out what fits best for us. But we should also keep in mind that, you know, traditional church service is really important to a lot of people, and
right. Okay. That was what I had written down on my list. So I guess the rest, any other time, I guess my question is, are there things that you all want to see us working on as we move towards 2021? If there are that you're thinking of right now, you know, throw it out there. And if you want to think on it and, you know, get back, that's fine too.
One thing that we might want to think about as the building nears completion, and that is if we're going to have a cornerstone or some kind of time capsule contents again. With the cornerstone type thing. I know we had talked about not necessarily putting it into the building, but maybe having a bench outside the front entrance that where you could set that time capsule inside as sort of the cornerstone. But anyway, just if we want to think about that and whether or not we are going to do some activity like that.
Yes. Yeah. Shannon.
I do like the bench idea. You know, I feel like the time capsule things are kind of a little overdone, and this is a new thing. So let's do something different. So I like that idea, Debbie, of the bench, especially since we're going to have a green area, even if it's a little like bench with a little garden thing around it, you know, trees or bushes or something, you know. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Kind of the bench like the kids' play box, you know what I mean? Not just a bench that has the box underneath, so to speak. You know, you lift up the lid and there's the contents.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have to break the building to get to the time capsule.
Yeah. They just so anticlimactic. It's like everybody gets all excited and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, I'm kind of thinking like, you know, when we had the High Street box, big whoop. Who really cared?
Somebody cared. Somebody cared.
Yeah, it's just well, no, I'm voicing my opinion. That's
Debbie had family stuff in there, so that was cool. I mean, you know, but
Almost. Keep working.
You want to do some more stuff?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I like Shannon's idea with a little flower garden around it, or, you know, little green space. And whether or not we'll do it really makes no never mind to me. It's I had my big thrill with the High Street one, and Dennis was right. It was like we saw it, it was cool, and then it was over.
yeah.
yeah, and you know, do we want people 100 years from now saying, "What were these knuckleheads trying to prove?" You know. Yeah, when the building has been rezoned and is a brothel or something because prostitution will be legal then, and who cares? Because the church isn't about us, and I think when you do stuff like that, you're just patting yourself on the back. Look at us, whoop-de-doo.
All right. Any other thoughts on things we should be shooting for?
Yeah,
I have a question. Go ahead, Walt.
I do have one. Oh, go ahead, Jack. No, you go ahead.
Okay, this is just a quick one. In light of the Mike DeWine's speech tonight, are we still feeling confident about doing a flyover on the 14th?
That's a good question. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, what do you all think about that? I mean, the positives are, I guess, we be outside. We can tell people to keep wearing masks. But I don't know. What are you all thinking about that?
Just one comment along with what Jackie just said. I've kind of been wondering about our Saturday gatherings, prayer on the property, and wonder whether or not those should continue as well. I mean, Saturday is going to be the flyover, but that would normally be, the time for the prayer on the property. I personally will be more and more reluctant to go inside. Saturdays, we were still outside, and I felt pretty good about that. But as this goes along, if we're going inside, John and I will probably have to, I don't know, bow out or stay in the car and pray there. But I think we need to kind of decide, and I think we need to be setting a good example for the rest of the community on how we handle coronavirus, and not make exceptions for ourselves just because we're the church.
No, and I agree with you, Debbie. We need to lead by example.
Yeah.
If we want to be like a beacon in the city of Green, we got to act like a beacon.
I think if we think the prayer on the property is important, there's a different way to do it. You can make a schedule and okay, if you're interested, this family can go themselves, or something like that, if that's something that you still think is important.
Yeah. Jackie, that maybe we can shift this to just a family at a time, showing up and taking a Saturday to come and do the different prayers that we have talked about for the property. But yeah, I think we need to rethink the gathering.
Yeah.
And I know the Getzes are sick of going from Stowe to Green at 9 o'clock. Shannon gets dressed in the car on the way there. It's crazy. She's taking her jammies off, putting clothes on. It's crazy.
He's just blabbering. No, I think we could. I think Jackie and Debbie, that's really the way we should probably go with that. And we've got enough families that are comfortable going out there that I think it would be pretty easy for us to take a turn and do that.
I was just going to say, that what we had planned for this coming Saturday with the drone is there's nothing time sensitive about that necessarily. So it's not anything we couldn't reschedule for another time or push to, into spring of 2021 when the building is getting closer to. And we could always have the guy that Dan knows just come and take drone video of the building and the site and all that just to document, to get a cool video of it. So if that's the direction everybody's leaning, I can totally understand that.
As just one voice, I think I think the last thing we need to do is have 40 people show up there going, "Hi, hello."
Right.
Yeah.
I just think that sends the wrong message in these times.
Yeah. Okay.
Better be
Yeah,
safe
you
than
could-
sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I
You could
agree.
do, you could do the drone of just the site itself, and then maybe do the drone the next time when the church server,
Wow,
when you have the opening ceremony. But I mean, the only thing is, you cancel. I wouldn't say cancel. I would just say we're going to postpone the gathering and then just do the drone itself, so he can take the picture of the property, and then we'll add the people later. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. So.
Oh yeah, overhead view of a building. That's some pretty dramatic video there.
Well, you know what? How is this drone being rented?
No, it's one that he owns. He's just doing it. He's just doing it for us.
Yeah,
So what you could do snapshots of this drone, and then at the end could show a video of the progress of how it was built. So you could fly the drone over now, and then fly the drone over later throughout the building process, and then they can see how the progress is, and then the culmination would be, the gathering. Because we don't know what the gathering is going to be like.
Right.
I feel like I just repeated something out of the movie Highlander, but whatever.
So will they postpone the Christmas Eve then? Since that's about a month away.
I mean, I think my gut would be if our numbers keep going up between now and then, we probably should just postpone. Just to be safe. If people get it under control here and they go back down, maybe we can still do it in a safe way. But that's hopeful.
I think it'd be super easy to keep it on the books for now, and then cancel, a week or two in advance if necessary, and then obviously it becomes a little more business as usual on the internet, and we just figure out how to make that special.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think we do more like, something like this, only look at my Yorkshire pudding. Look how fluffy and delightful it is. I'll give you my recipe, and look at my wassail. Hello.
We can come up with some creative version of that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Show us your homemade goods.
And at the risk of sounding like Uncle Al, if I don't have to drive back from the property with the wassail, that's probably a good thing.
There you go.
He never drives. I drive. I don't know what he's talking about.
You can do an outside. You can do an outside candle like.
Yes, and we could just leave it on the books and just, one idea that Dave Johnson threw out for us a while ago was to set up a Christmas tree on the property and have people just drive by it if they want to, and put an ornament on the tree or something. So we could scale it back to something like that if we needed to.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I still have that Christmas tree in the garage. I guess. Do you still want it for the church?
Sure.
Or do you guys already have one?
No, we don't. That'd be great.
All right.
Now, and I'll go.
I have an extra one and been saving it, but I have. Huh?
No. Go ahead, Walt. Go ahead.
No, I've had this extra Christmas tree for now a year now, keeping it in the garage, thinking that we could give it to the church. But if we can still use it, let me know. I'll still keep it. So.
No, but I'll goofing off the side. If we want to, be a foundation in the city, we have to lead an example. I just think we have to be smart, and as Debbie said, we have to respect, the older folks, that are not comfortable, and they are a vital part of the congregation, and we can't compromise them. We have to be smart.
Yeah, the other thing that's always been in the back of my mind too is that when in the past when we've had to cancel church for weather, snow, or ice or whatever, that for that generation, the older generation, if we have church, if it's on the books, they will find a way to get there, even if it's not safe. And I would hate to see it, but I wonder if the same is true during COVID here. That if we were having church, it'd be interesting to see who actually came because it's church and you come. That's what you do. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, if I can try to summarize, is we postpone Saturday's drone. We leave Christmas Eve on the books, but we may have to scale it back. And what do we want to do with the Saturday prayer on the property? Do we want to try to, do you all, Debbie and Jennifer that are involved in that, do you want to try to scale that back somehow? Or
Joel, the prayer team has a meeting for November 19th. And maybe we can decide at that meeting how, how we could set up a schedule for people to come to the property on Saturday, but to take turns and do it that way for now.
Yeah, because, we need to sanctify the ground, and, we need to lift the holy hands, so to say. But, to your point, Debbie, we can't have 60, 70 people, as the weather's going to get crappier and, moving inside isn't the smart choice to make. So
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, will you take care of canceling, or not canceling, but postponing, getting that word out so people don't come Saturday?
Yeah, I'll probably, especially I think, so the timing of the DeWine press conference and everything, I'll probably just send it out in the morning here and just let people, since it's kind of on everybody's minds, we'll just communicate that via email to everybody.
So do you want to keep the drone since we've already scheduled him and gotten his time? So we'll have Dan and I can go over and meet with Jerry, and Jerry's a professional drone operator, so there'll be good shots for sure. But we can do that, and we can do it at 10, and then if other people show up, we can say thanks for coming, but it's been canceled. That way, at least someone's there to say so.
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Hey, I'm just curious. Do we don't have anyone in the hospital or anything right now? I mean, what's that situation? Is there anyone sick, or is there anything we need to keep in our prayers or whatever? I mean, are there any hospital visits or something? Because Joel, are you doing those, or how are you doing that?
Well, we haven't had anybody with COVID. Just on Sunday, we had the Blanchard son and daughter-in-law tested positive, but they're young. I don't think they've been hospitalized at all. And we have some other folks that have been in and out of the hospital. But for the most part, I've been trying to stay in contact with them from a distance, phone calls and that kind of thing, instead of trying to go in and see them. If something really were terrible to happen, Jennifer is doing chaplaincy training at Akron General right now, so she has access to be able to see people there. But yeah, for the most part, we've been trying to maintain distance. The one I did see on Facebook that who was it that we were praying for connected with us with adult conference. I can't remember, but the Watts knew him and others who had been the Cad Walters, but he passed away from COVID.
Did they just mention him on Sunday for prayer?
We did.
That's what I thought.
But we haven't lost anyone in our church with COVID, have we?
No, we haven't.
No, we have.
How's Jim Cuckler getting on? Does anyone know?
Oh, I know.
Actually,
all right, I haven't had an update
from that's a good one.
The last I heard, Dennis, is that he's getting along okay after his first surgery, but they're going to wait till the new year for the back surgery.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right. And what about Betty Stallnaker? I know, like, she's not, whatever, but we have connections with her.
yeah, I talked to Beth and she fell again.
Oh, please.
Yeah, so that was bad. She got a call at 2 a.m. Betty, she said Betty's having, in-home care. She didn't want to move her to a nursing home because then she could never go in to see her. So they're keeping her at home with 24-hour, around-the-clock care, nursing care. But Betty fell again, and she said it's just one day at a time right now.
Sure.
So when is she gonna get out of the hospital?
Thanks, Debbie.
Yep. The other person who's having surgery this week is Trudy Neff. She's having her spleen removed because they found cancer there.
Yeah, that whole clan has a lot going on. And Martha, of course, is trying to hold everybody together, which
Daddy,
is causing her own health
Daddy,
issues.
can you please help me with this site works?
So if you're going to interrupt, then you develop one.
Okay, I want it.
Thank you. Yeah, and Martha's been kind of keeping me updated with phone calls and text messages also, but Tara's having surgery or had surgery as well. I was just looking back.
I think her surgery was Monday, but I haven't heard how she got through that.
Yeah, I think Martha left me a message and said she was recovering, so she did fine with that. But yeah, they got a lot going on.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any mental health issues, or how do we feel that the congregation is dealing with all of this? Or is that a loaded question for a later discussion?
It depends on, what people want to, admit about themselves or, offer to the general public. But, these times have been stressful for everyone. And I mean,
All right.
Well, I think particularly for Linda Wilson, this is extremely hard.
Yeah.
Can't we up
Okay.
a
Yeah, I know, Joel, we talked about a couple of times throughout before COVID hit about, counseling services and stuff like that. It's starting to heat up more around the community, and Karen and her team is starting to see a huge impact. I'm thinking maybe that's something we need to look into for next year so that we have that ready for people. I don't know what your thoughts are that, but I think people adjusting to this new way of life and what it's going to be like afterwards is going to be very impactful for people. And if we as a church can be there for that support, so just something to think about.
Yeah, no, I think definitely having some counselors or a counseling group using our building or, being able to do services there. And then a while back, we talked about trying to find some other things that we have connections with or, experience people have in our own congregation to wrap around that as well, and maybe offering different kind of support groups and that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's definitely on the radar for when we get the building up and going. All right. Good conversation. Anything else?
I would just, if you guys would just, my work at the school right now sucks, let me tell you. Not enjoying this right now. And it's very, very stressful for the teachers, for all the staff. It's really, not been a fun situation. So just keep everybody working in the schools, no matter what their job is, it sucks right now.
Yeah. It's not easy.
And keep in mind the people who live with people like that.
Yeah.
I know it's hard on the parents, Joel. I know you guys, but this is really just, it's effed up, let me tell you.
Yeah, no, I get it all around.
Said that.
Maybe we should start thinking about how we can help in that area. Because you're right. I mean, I hear stories from Karen almost every day. They just had a child in one of her school systems die yesterday, and they don't know what it was. The mother went and woke him up and couldn't get him to lake, and he passed away. They don't know what caused it. And then on top of that, of COVID and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely the school systems are being tacked out big time. So, but what do you do when we're we're tied too? We can't go into the school system.
No.
So, but I feel like, to your point, there's got to be something we can do. But what is it? There has to be. I just don't know what the answer is yet. So
Is this affecting the Blessings in a Backpack program?
A little bit, but generally not too much. So the problem is locally that Green Good Neighbors and Blessings have not received the Green Good Neighbors especially has not received the donations that they usually need for Christmas. It's often filled by church members, from the church, and every Sunday they come, they see the pile getting bigger, bigger, bigger. So they bring a lot of stuff, but they give out not only free food, but they also give out toys and other Christmas gifts to families to give to their kids. So that's one thing. Blessings has not been too bad. They've had a couple food drives that have been fairly successful in a number of different locations. They just did another one a couple weeks ago. So it looks to me like they're doing that more often, because they used to do what they called Stuff the Turkey for the entire month of November at the schools. And so the kids would, like one of the schools has 5 different hallways, and each hallway has a different shape on a tile on the floor. So the circle hallway would be against the diamond hallway against the square hallway, and whichever hallway brought the most stuff, would win like free recess, extra recess for a week or something, or I don't know, a pizza party, or I don't know what it is. But so with that, they're running a little bit lower, but I haven't heard of a specific need, and I could reach out to Jennifer Dorr if we wanted to do that. The City of Green has 5 schools, so I could find out, we could pick 5 different months and find ways to bless them in the school, or 5 different weeks with just dozens of donuts or something else that's not much but shows appreciation as someone in the community. I'm not really sure what else. I'm trying to think of ways that are less expensive, of course, for the church to do.
Jennifer?
Yeah.
At this time, who's packing for Blessings in a Backpack? Is it just Jennifer's family, or are there others helping?
There's a list of 10 or 11 people plus her family. So whoever's free of her family, but also this small group of people that she's included. So we remember with the Duke grant that I received from my participation in leadership, we had originally planned a thank you event somewhere around now or last month. We were going to have breakfast after packing, but instead what we've done is just this past week, I confirmed a Harry and David delivery to Jennifer's house. In fact, she doesn't know, but she's getting three different months in a row. So that's kind of fun. But she's just getting, there's allergies and sensitivities in her family, so she's getting pears and apples. Deliveries of those 2 fruits to say thank you to her. She's not expecting that. But then for this little group of 11 people that she identified specifically, which does include her family and her parents, they're each receiving a gift basket. Right here, but they're each receiving, it's being delivered to my house, and then I will find a way to get it to Jennifer and the other folks, whether it includes delivery on my own to their houses. I mean, 11 people, they can't live that far. Most of them are pretty, so with
Help me.
Oh, it doesn't give the detail what's in the basket on my receipt. But anyway, so yeah, it's called a Thanks a Million gift board, and it has some actual like little items, stuff that you use as Christmas items, but also includes like cheeses and sausage kind of stuff. And it's all fair trade. It's from good, so it's from the Greater Good Store.
I just wondered if they needed help with, or just take care of themselves.
I'm sorry,
They have,
Joel, can you mute for a second? There's Debbie, I'm sorry, go ahead again.
oh, I just was curious if they were doing the packing by themselves because they do have health issues and they weren't included, you know. Usually there's 30, 40 people that come to pack, but they're not doing that now. I just wondered if they had enough helpers or how they were handling that.
At this point, they're keeping it to that small group of people. It must be people that she knows and trusts, you know, who've been working with her all these years.
Right.
I know one of them's a school person, and two of them are people that I know close. And so I know that they're remaining at home a lot, you know, and they're friends with Jennifer otherwise. So I think they're fine with packing as far as that goes.
Okay.
And I don't know, who knows, but we gave them the leftovers of the candy from the trunk or treat.
Okay.
My family took time and put together bags of 6 or 8 pieces of candy for each of their 150 kids. And we were able to deliver that in their last box 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, what else? Anything else? All right. Good deal. I wrote down a lot of notes. So our next meeting will be on December 1st, and I'll send out an email tomorrow to the leadership to confirm all of that and some other things, and then send out the church-wide email about the events we're postponing and that sort of thing.
Was that an event on Facebook as well?
I don't think we ever made it one, no.
They're still asleep. No.
All right. What's that, Dennis?
It's a minute past 7:29. We could do our 7:29 prayer and finish up.
There you go.
All right, sounds good. Why don't I do that? Let's pray. Loving God.
I'll do it.
You coming up to do it?
Yeah.
Javon's going to pray for us.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
God, thank you for we are thankful for our family, and we are thankful for our house, and we are thankful for our family, and we are thankful for where we live, and we are thankful for our friends, and we are thankful for the food. Amen.
Amen.
You the man, Javon.
Good job.
Good job.
All right, you'll have to pray our mission statement when you log off then, I guess.
That's okay. That was perfect.
No. All right. Fight the power, everybody.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Hey, take care. Stay healthy.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Good night.